Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to share with you my everyday makeup drawer for January, my first everyday makeup drawer for this year. So in these videos I go through my makeup collection, pick out old products I haven't used in a while or products that are newer in my collection and set them aside for the month to test and use up or just rediscover in my collection. This month I want to focus on empties or nearly empty products. I've been watching a ton of Project Pan videos and I've never done a Project Pan because I feel like all my favorite products I always hit pan on all the time. Anyways, you guys see a lot of my palettes. I have a lot of dents in them, so I feel like I'm always just kind of organically doing that. But there are a decent amount of products in my collection right now that are like pretty used up that I should go ahead and finish up or declutter if I end up like really not liking them anymore. So that's going to be the focus for the products that I pick out for this month. So if you guys want to see what products I'm going to be picking out for January, then just keep on watching. Alright, so here are all the products that I picked out in December. So long ago it feels like. And I did end up traveling in December and I brought some different products with me when I was traveling just because I know what works for me and I was in like super humid hot climate, so I wanted to bring like really mattifying products, but otherwise these are the products that I had for the month. And actually what I ended up using the most were the eyeshadow palettes, and usually that's what I use the least in my everyday makeup drawers just because I end up buying new eyeshadow palettes to review throughout the month and I end up testing out those more than what I pick out. But I ended up using these almost every day when I wasn't reviewing certain products, and that's the KKW Mario palette. I would especially use like a lot of the transition shades in here and use those with some of the other products I'm going to mention in a second. But I was using this palette a ton. I'm still using this palette a ton, especially for the transition shades and just like a simple everyday eye look with like some of the bronzy shades in here. And then also the Ace Beauty palette. This is, I think, the Grandiose palette from Ace Beauty. I would wear this a ton. I really like this formula a lot. It's super creamy, super pigmented, and I definitely want to try out more from this brand. So I definitely recommend this palette if you guys like these shades for sure. So other than that, for eyes, I was wearing these from Lancome a lot. These are like their new single cream products. It kind of reminds me of the ColourPop Super Shock shadows, but these have more of a powdery finish compared to those. And I'll have the shade listed below. It's in French, but this is the one that I would wear the most, especially when I'm not filming and I'm not like really going anywhere. I barely wear eyeshadow. I'll do like my full face and just mascara and not really any eyeshadow, or just use highlighter like all over my lid. And I would also wear this. So this is like my go-to when I'm doing like more of a minimal makeup look, which is kind of like half the time. So I really love this shade. Like they're really pigmented shadows, and sometimes I would blend it out with this shade. This one is A La Mode, and this is more of a deeper coppery shade. Like they're super pigmented. So really love this formula. I normally just apply it with my fingertip and just like put it on all over my lid. Also from Lancome, I was bummed to realize that this was just like a holiday palette. I was trying to find it online, but it was just a palette in a holiday set, and this highlighter is stunning. So I don't think this formula is just amazing. So I don't think this is available on its own. Like this is so gorgeous, but I was so impressed with this formula from Lancome from their holiday collection. And I'm sure if they come out with other highlighters this year, I'm gonna be all for them, because I didn't realize that Lancome has such an amazing highlighter formula. And then I wasn't really wearing the e.l.f. palette because I was wearing the Lancome palette more than anything. And then for the face products, I'm going to keep my Cover FX powder in here because I'm almost done with it and I can definitely use it up this month for sure. And then I've been using the NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer as well. And it's not as full coverage as my Too Faced Multi-Use Sculpting or my Jouer High Coverage. I do like this a lot, but those are just like a little bit more coverage and give me a little bit more of like a blurred out look, especially down the center of my face. So I like those a little bit more. But this is really nice under my eyes too. I've been wearing the Stellar Beauty Concealer a bit, but I tend to reach for the NARS one a little bit more from this drawer because that one's a bit more used up. And then I'm just going to go ahead and finally declutter these two concealers that I've been trying to force myself to use, but I think they just look so gross now. I've had them for so long. This is Maybelline Fit Me and L'Oreal Infallible. I really like both of these, but I've had these for so long that they're just like not appealing to me when I look at them because I'm like, these are kind of old. And then I also still love this primer from First Aid Beauty. This is super hydrating. It's kind of like a moisturizer and primer in one. I'm definitely going to keep using this throughout the winter. And then back here, I have two face palettes. I didn't use these too much. Really, the Lancome palette is the face palette I use the most. The natural face palette from Too Faced, I do like it, but I don't love all of the shades. Really, the shades that I use the most is like the Drop It Like It's Hot blush and the Sunny Honey bronzer and the Pink Sand blush. And then the other three I don't really use too much. So this isn't what I was reaching for every day. I would reach for it when I didn't feel like wearing the Lancome palette. And then I had to kind of force myself to use the Tarte Park Avenue Princess contour palette. I just don't find these shades as creamy and blendable as my Kevyn Aucoin palette or my Smashbox palette. I feel like this doesn't look as natural and like flawless on my skin compared to those. So I use this a little bit because I felt like I had to, but I kept reaching for my Kevyn Aucoin and my Smashbox. Alright, so those are basically the highlights of everything from December. This is kind of like my miscellaneous drawer where I throw in random lip products throughout the month and use some of them I don't get to, and that's totally fine because I keep things pretty minimal with my lip products, and I've just come to accept that. And then also the Charlotte Tilbury foundation. I didn't really wear it because it's really matte and I'm not going for that really matte look right now. So I still like this foundation, but it just didn't make sense for like the climate right now. But that is everything from December. I'm gonna empty this out and then show you guys what I'm gonna be choosing for January. So I'm gonna start off with my blushes or bronzers, highlighters, and I just put some things in here that I already know that I want to pick out for the month, and some of them are my favorites, but kind of forgotten about favorites, or favorites that I put on the back burner. One of them is the Marc Jacobs Omega Coconut Bronzer, and I'm obsessed with this. However, I have not used it in months because it's such a fancy bronzer. So even though I love it, I like never use it lately. So I definitely want to have this be like my go-to bronzer every day for the rest of the month. And then also my Too Faced Sweet Tea bronzer, because I've had this forever. I've hit pan on it and it's pretty used up, and I don't want to have this anymore past like this spring. So I don't think I will finish it in just a couple weeks, but I think I can get a little bit closer because I always use a matte bronzer, a contour powder, and then a shimmer one on top. I do that every single day, and I kind of go crazy with this one because it is a little bit of a lighter shade, so I could use a heavier hand, and it's just like a bulky packaging, so I want to go ahead and like use it up because I have so many other shimmery bronzers, my Becca ones and my Too Faced Chocolate Gold. And then for highlighter, I really want to keep using my Becky G ColourPop highlighter in the shade Chisme. This might like get really messy when I open this. No, it's not too bad. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous color. I'll go ahead and swatch it for you guys. And this is like one of those shades that is neutral enough to wear with like every kind of eye look. So definitely gonna be wearing that one more. And then next, I've talked about decluttering this product so many times, but for some reason, I hang on to the little tiny bit that is left in here. So this is the original Butter Blush from Physicians Formula. I've had it forever. I've clearly loved it to death. And for some reason, I just hang on to the little bit that's left in the pan. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep using this for just a couple weeks. I'm gonna wear this every single day and then throw it out because it's just way too used up to keep in my collection forever. But I wanna give it its last little moment. You guys know I love this blush. And then lastly, I'm also gonna pick out this IBY Beauty highlighter that I got in my Ipsy bag a couple months ago. I was using it the month that I first had it, and then I just kind of forgot about it. So I wanna keep this in my rotation of highlighters because it's a gorgeous shade and it's a gorgeous formula. So here is a shade. It's a really pigmented formula, and this is probably a kind of underrated brand. I don't think I've tried out anything else from them, but just the highlighter formula is amazing. So I'd love to try more from them, and I definitely need to keep using this. This one is in the shade Radiant Glow. So that's gonna be everything from this drawer because there's probably gonna be a couple more face products that I try out throughout the month. And then moving into my foundation drawer, and this has gotten messier again because I was traveling and I threw everything in here, and then I've also gotten a couple new products that I just kind of threw in here as well. But let's get like right into all of this. Two concealers that I'm almost done with. You guys can see like You can see the edges of both containers of my Too Faced Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer and my Jouer High Coverage Concealer. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in my drawer because I also really wanna film an empties video very soon. I have a couple more empties products and I wanna go ahead and use these up because these are kind of bulkier in my collection too. And then I'm also almost finished with the Cover FX Power Play foundation. I love this foundation. I wear the shade G40. Yeah, I think I could actually finish this up in the next couple weeks. There's not much left in here. This is the only foundation I was wearing in South America because it's matte and comfortable. And it was a really great foundation to survive humidity. And then also from Cover FX, they sent over their new primer collection. There's a couple that I've been trying out. So these are gonna be the two primers that I keep using throughout the month, the Dewy Skin Primer and the Gripping Primer. I've already been using them this month so far, but I wanna give you guys a little bit more detail about them, especially the Gripping Primer because it's supposed to like help your foundations like stick onto your face, but it's not like, it doesn't feel heavy or anything. They're both kind of silicone based primers. So I can use these in an upcoming tutorial too and give you guys a little bit more info about them. Those will probably be the only primers I pick out. Oh, and then also I have the NARS foundation. This is the Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. This one is like 3 shades too light for me, but what I like to do is mix it in with my Too Faced Born This Way because that one's like a little dark for me right now. I have like my summer shade and on its own it's a little deep, so I mix it in with this equal parts and it's pretty awesome. This one's a little shaken up because I did that earlier today, but really I only have like this much left. And I think that's gonna be it because I really just wanna declutter both of these foundations. I want to get in the habit of like finishing things up. And then because this is almost all the way used up, I just need to go ahead and finish the rest of this powder up from Burt's Bees. I always show you guys, and let me know at what point you guys throw things away, because to me I'm like, oh, there's still like 2 months left of product in here, but other people probably are like, okay, this is gross, go ahead and declutter that. But I just love this powder. I know it's only like $8, but I still love it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use it throughout the rest of the month and then toss whatever little tiny bit is left. Let me actually add this as well while I'm adding products and I'm trying to finish up. This is a Good Hydrations primer from Bare Minerals. There's not too much left. Half of this is like air. So I could actually probably finish this in like 2 weeks. I actually love this primer. It's like a holy grail for me too, but I have so many open primers that I need to get to as well. But let me go ahead and add this one as well. Really great for dry skin, but also a little bit pore filling too. Next, I'm moving into eyeshadow palettes, and I definitely want to keep using the Through My Eyes ColourPop palette. I feel like there's so many more looks that I can do with this palette for sure. I do have a full review on my channel in comparison to some other ColourPop palettes, but this is like a really fun palette. And then also I just got this from Beauty Bakery. They sent over this palette. This is the Coffee and Cocoa palette. Here is what the palette looks like. It's almost like a face palette, eyeshadow palette hybrid, where you can maybe use this shade as a highlighter and this shade as a bronzer, and then these as eyeshadows. Maybe this one could be a blush depending on your complexion. But I think I'm going to use this mostly as an eyeshadow palette, and then maybe if I can pull this off as a highlighter, if it might be actually too deep. So I think this is just going to be like an extra eyeshadow palette. I haven't really tested this out yet. I think I just swatched it. So I definitely am curious about it because I haven't really tried anything from Beauty Bakery. And then I'm also going to pull out the ColourPop Salvaje palette. This one's a little bit newer, and I've done a couple looks on my channel already, but it still hasn't definitely gotten as much love compared to like pretty much everything else in my drawer. So I'm gonna keep using this because I don't want to forget about it, especially with ColourPop releases, because I buy like a new ColourPop palette like every month, but I don't want to forget about like the ones that I love. And I really like this palette and the I Love Sarai palette, and I could use them together because this one has some more transition shades than that one. All right, and then lastly, I'm going through my face palette, and I'm just gonna pick out one that I'm gonna declutter at the end of the month. And you guys might actually be surprised to know that I still have my Lorac palette that I mentioned all the time last year, and how like beat up this palette is and how destroyed it is. If you're new to my channel, this probably like really grosses you out. But yeah, I still have this palette because even though like I've used up my favorite contour shade and like some of the face shades, and this is all broken and gross, there's still a lot of product in here, and I love this formula. If you're wondering why the mirror is broken, I literally dropped the palette and went to pick it up, but broke it. I just love this formula so much, clearly, so I need to finally finish it up, get as much use out of it as I can in the next couple weeks, and then let it go. Alright guys, so here is everything for the drawer for this month. Over here I actually put everything that I want to use up in the rest of January, and I know this video is going up kind of like almost mid-January or a week into January, but these are already products that I've been using and trying to actively declutter anyways. And then here are some things to test out. I do want to use up the NARS foundation, but it's not going to be this month for sure. I have my palettes in the back that I'm excited for, especially the Beauty Bakery palette, because yeah, I haven't used it yet, so I'm excited to try out their products. And then this is kind of just like my random lip drawer. Sometimes if I film like 2 videos in a row, I will just reach in here just to try to get myself to use like some products that I don't use as often in my collection. But those are gonna be all the products for this month. Let me know what products you guys are testing out this month, or if there's certain products that you're trying to use up in your collections as well, because I definitely have some overflow and I need to minimize it for sure. So let me know that in the comments, and if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.